Okay, so we are back for the last part of Sharon Creech's Love That Dog. We will finish up today and see how Mr. Walter Dean Myers responds to Jack and his request for him to come to his school. April 20. Did you mail it? Did he answer it yet? April 24. Months? It might take months for Mr. Walter Dean Myers to answer my letter, if he answers it? I didn't know until you explained the letter has to go to Mr. Walter Dean Myers' publisher company, and then someone at the publisher company has to sort all the mail, not just my letter, but hundreds and hundreds of letters to hundreds of authors. All that big mess of mail piled up, and someone sorting all that mail, and then the letters from Mr. Walter Dean Myers go to him, and maybe he's away, maybe he's on vacation, maybe he's sick, maybe he's hiding in a room writing poems. Maybe he's babysitting his children or his grandchildren, if he's married and stuff. Or maybe he has to go to the dentist or get that car fixed. Or maybe someone died. I really hope someone did not die. So if you ask me, it could take him years to get around to answering that letter. So I guess we'd better just forget about it, not count on it, get it out of our minds, do something else. Forget it. April 26th. Sometimes when you're trying not to think about something, it keeps popping back into your head. You can't help it. You think about it, and think about it, and think about it, until your brain feels like a squashed pea. It's an interesting metaphor there. Your brain feeling like a squashed pea. Interesting simile. May 2nd. Yes, you can type up the thing about trying not to think about something, but you'd better leave my name off it, because it was just words coming out of my head, and I wasn't paying too much attention to which words came out when. May 7. Maybe you could show me how to use the computer, and then I could type up my own words. May 8. I didn't know about the spell checking thing inside the computer. It is like a miracle little brain in there, a little helper brain. But I'm a slow typer. Did you say there's a teaching typing thing in that computer too? Will it help me type better and faster? Tap, 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 tap. So my fingers can go as fast as my brain. Little onomatopoeia there. Remember, sound words are that fancy poetry technique called onomatopoeia. May 14. I typed this up myself. My Sky. We were outside in the street, me and some other kids kicking the ball before dinner, and Sky was chasing with his feet going every which way, and his tail wagging, and his mouth slobbering, and he was all over the place, smiling and wagging and slobbering and making us laugh, and my dad came walking up the street. He was way down there near the end. I could see him after he got off the bus, and he was walking, and I saw him wave, and he called out, "Hey there, son." So I didn't see the car coming from the other way until someone else, one of the big kids, called out, "Car!" And I turned around and saw a blue car splattered with mud, speeding down the road. And I saw Sky going after the ball, wagging his tail, and I called him, "Sky, Sky," and he turned his head, but it was too late, because the blue car splattered with mud hit Sky. Thud, 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 and kept on going in such a hurry, so fast, so many miles to go, it couldn't even stop. And Sky was just there in the road, lying on his side with his legs bent funny, and his side heaving, and he looked up at me. My dad was there, and he lifted Sky out of the road, and he laid him on the grass, and Sky closed his eyes, and he never opened them again, ever. Oh, sorry guys, this was kind of the sad part. May 15. I don't know. If you put it on the board and maybe read it, it might make them sad. May 17. Okay, I guess I'll put my name on it, but I hope it doesn't make people feel too sad, and if it does, maybe you could think of something to cheer everybody up. Like maybe with some of those brownies you make, the chocolate ones that are so good. May 21. Wow. Wow. That was the best news ever. I can't believe it. Mr. Walter Dean Myers is really coming to our school. He was coming to our city anyway to see his old buddy. And he would be honored to visit our clean school and meet the mostly nice kids who like his poems. We sure are lucky that his old buddy lives in our town. Wow. May 28. The bulletin board looks like it's blooming words with everybody's poems up there on all those colored sheets of paper, yellow, blue, pink, red, green. And the bookcase looks like it's sprouting books, all of them by Mr. Walter Dean Myers, lined up, looking back at us, waiting for Mr. Walter Dean Myers himself to come to our school, right into our classroom. Wow! May 29. I can't wait. I can't sleep. Are you sure you had my poem that was inspired by Mr. Walter Dean Myers? I don't want to do anything to upset him. June 1. Mr. Walter Dean Myers Day. I never, in my whole life, ever heard anybody who could talk like that Mr. Walter Dean Myers. All of my blood in my veins was bubbling, and all of the thoughts in my head were buzzing, and I wanted to keep Mr. Walter Dean Myers at our school forever. June 6. Dear Mr. Walter Dean Myers, thank you 100 million times for leaving your work and your family and your things people have to do to come and visit us in our school, in our class. We hope you liked your visit. We think maybe you did because you were smiling all over the place. And when you read your poems, you had the best voice. Low and deep, friendly and warm, like it was reaching out and wrapping us all up in a big squeeze. And when you laughed, you had the best laugh I've ever heard in my life, like it was coming from way down deep and bubbling up and rolling and tumbling out into the air. We hope we didn't ask you too many questions, but we thank you for answering every which one, and especially for saying that you would be flattered if someone used some of your words, and especially if they added a note that they were inspired by Walter Dean Myers. And it was nice of you to read all of our poems on the bulletin board, and I hope it didn't make you too sad when you read the one about my dog Sky getting smushed in the road. And I think you liked the brownies too, right? Thank you for coming to see us, Mr. Walter Dean Myers. Inside this envelope is a poem using some of your words. I wrote it. It was inspired by you, Mr. Walter Dean Myers. From your #1 fan, Jack. Love that dog, inspired by Walter Dean Myers, by Jack. Love that dog like a bird loves to fly. I said I love that dog like a bird loves to fly. Love to call him in the morning, love to call him, hey there, Sky. And that is the end of Love That Dog. So I hope you really enjoyed this book as much as I have. I think it's from a very neat point of view, hearing from Jack and hearing how he kind of changes his attitude throughout the story. And if you are interested in this book, there is a sequel, and they give you a little sneak peek of it back here, which I'm not going to read, but there is a sequel called Hate That Cat, and it is also written in free verse poetry. So another hope of mine is that you kind of got an interesting perspective of what poetry can be and how it really isn't limited to, rhyming couplets like where a lot of people think poetry has to go. So this is a good little kickoff to doing some things with poetry, and I look forward to continuing that with you all.